Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing the Lumber Lunacy HCE map guide. Let's get straight into the video. First off, I want to apologize about last video, guys. I realized that I did not go over the offset that you need to bring for the tank for the Fungicide HCE map boss. I am so sorry about that. I usually go over that in the videos at the beginning. I kind of briefly cover it while you're actually doing the boss, but I did not go over it explicitly in the beginning, so I wanted to apologize for that. I will not forget that in the future. Speaking about tank offsets, let's go over the one we need to bring for the Lumber Lunacy boss. So obviously bring the meta tank build. I made a video in the past going over what you need for that, so go ahead and check that video out if you don't know. For the skip set, you need to bring everything except the Skinner boots. The Skinner boots are not required on this map. For the actual offset, you need to bring a broadsword, and you need to bring a either Astral Aegis shield or a active shield. Both will work. Astral Aegis is better, but they're very expensive. For the first ability, equip Heroic Cleave, and for the second ability, go ahead and equip Parry Strike. Obviously, you cannot change the third. And then you have the third passive for the sword. So you can unlock the Parry Strike ability once you get level 60 with swords, so it might take a little while to be able to unlock this off tank. But basically, whenever an attack comes to you, you press W to reflect it back at the enemy, as in like reflect the damage back. This is the most important ability for this off tank. Getting started into the map. So this is one of two really big pulls. This map is so much fun because of those, but it's also very dangerous. So for this first pull, all you want to do is get the attention of the Lumberjack. I accidentally missed one of the rats, so I believe one of the DPSs aggroed them and started bringing them with. Go ahead and use your R ability and then your F ability to get past these guys without taking damage. And then your R will aggro everything else that's near you, and then use your D on all of these mobs. Now the trick is you want to wait until you see them like start to swing back their weapon, because if you use your E ability to stun them all before they use their attack, then once you land and are no longer invulnerable, you're going to instantly just get popped by them. So make sure you're very careful with that, and that's how it is with every large group pull. But I know that I've accidentally slipped up a couple times and ended up dying because of that, so just make sure you're careful. So moving on to the second pull, it's very important that you wait until the Lumberjack in the top left is chopping wood, because what will end up happening is they'll be roaming and you don't want them to attack you while everyone else is stunned. But so basically I used my F to jump past the assassins behind the tree, got my 4 hits, and then used my W to root them all. I also used my R while getting my 4 hits because I knew that they weren't going to be stunned for long enough. That is due to not having all masterpiece items. I talked about that in one of the other guides. But basically, you just gotta make sure that you keep these assassins stuck in place, because they will instantly kill your teammates if they somehow aggro onto them. But go ahead and just reapply the rotation and you should be good. Moving on to the next pull. So you're gonna want to wait until the Lumberjack top left once again is in the position where he is cutting the wood. Then use your stun on all the mobs, and then go ahead and get your 4 hits, and then stun with your W, root them, and use your D or F if you use your D to approach to get away. Very simple, and your DPS just do the rest of the work, so you don't have to worry about anything. The only thing you got to keep your eye on, though, is the assassin, because if they're about to become unrooted, you're going to want to make sure that you keep them rooted, because they're going to be the ones that can do the most damage. Also, really quick, as you see, the Lumberjacks are not rooted yet, so I use my R ability because I know that I'm going to be taking like little amounts of damage, but it does add up after a little while, so whenever you think you're going to be taking some damage, go ahead and use your R ability. Now, for this pull, all you have to do is use your F and then get the attention of the other group and use your D. This is recommended for roughly maps 12 and lower. I just wanted to show this pull off so that way you could do both the groups of enemies together. Otherwise, I would not recommend doing this one in a higher level. I would go ahead and approach both groups separately. So I would have done the assassin and healer first, and then I would have done the fire mage and the lumberjack second. I would not have done them together. An alternative you can do in higher level maps is have your SC lure the second group of enemies with their beam first, and then you just use your E to stun the healer and assassin once the lumberjack and fire staff mage come to the same area that they're in, and just use your E to stun them all. Make sure you activate the checkpoint, or you see the checkpoint get activated while doing this pull, because it's pretty important. But all you gotta do is approach it with your F. Whenever they attack, you use your F, and then use your E to go ahead and stun them. Get your 4 hits while using your R, and then your W to root them, and then you can use one of your abilities to get away. I did not use it because the healer doesn't do a lot of damage, and I wasn't really that concerned about taking 1 hit from the healer. But otherwise, you just keep repeating the rotation until the assassins are killed off, and then you are good. And I apologize, guys, if you see a little bit of stutter in the game. I recently moved into a new apartment, and either my internet connection or something has been making my game lag a little bit, so you might see that here and there. But so for this play, you're going to want to wait until the assassin is near that group of enemies and throw poison. I accidentally messed this up and aggroed them too quick, but you also need to make sure that that mage is the group at the bottom. You have to ask your DPS to keep resetting them if they do not. But most of the time, if you don't do it exactly like how I just described, you'll end up being fine. Like, it's not a real big deal unless you like completely mess something up. But as you can see, there were a few rats left over, and everything ended up being fine though. But go ahead and do a second rotation if you need. But make sure you keep those assassins rooted and out of the area of being able to kill your teammates. And there's one more rat left over. And I'll show a safe way to do this pull now. So if you're afraid that you're not going to be able to do that big pull, all you have to do is aggro the enemies over here with all the rats. And you should probably do this when the assassin is all together, but I just wanted to quickly show you could stun this group together and then do the other group together. So it'd be really hard to mess up splitting this pull into 2. Like, you're not going to die from it if you do it in 2 different parts. Obviously, the bigger pull is a lot harder to do, so if you're scared of doing it, then go ahead and do the pull this way. So continuing on with the map, once you see the lumberjack crossing the bridge, you can sneak over and see if the other lumberjack has come into position to do the pull. I got a little bit impatient, so once the DPS reset the lumberjack, I just ended up pulling the mobs anyways. But so what you can do is use your F to go ahead and dodge, and then use your D to pull the enemies close enough. And as you can see, I messed up. I didn't get the assassins in the pull, but it's okay because I end up using my R to keep me alive, and the healer was really good. I could have died there really easily. But now we just gotta wait until the lumberjack comes up the stairs because I was impatient and didn't want to grab them. And make sure you get their aggro first, and then you can like do something like jump over to the other side and then stun the extra mob now and make them a part of the rotation, so it's not like a big deal. But we did a second rotation on these guys, and now my teammates are gonna go ahead and take out this last lumberjack. After going down this long set of stairs and activating the checkpoint, for this next pull, all you have to do is pull the lumberjack and the assassin together. You want to make sure that they're together, and then use your F ability to dodge them. And I got stuck on the planter, which is kind of funny. And then you can use your D if you need. I did not mean to do that, but the plant kind of screwed me over. But as you can see, HCEs, we need to improvise. But go ahead and get your 4 hits, and then root the enemies, and then get out of there. I was playing around, and I kind of like started hitting the chest and stuff. You shouldn't do that if you're taking this really seriously, but I like to mess around a lot of times. But as you can see, we go in here for a second rotation, use my E to stun all the enemies, get my 4 hits, and then use my W to root them and my D to get out of there. Moving on to the next pull, you're going to want to wait until the Lumberjack is chopping wood, and then you're going to use your F to get over these enemies, and then your E to stun them, get your 4 hits, establish your aggro, and then use your root ability on them. And after that, you can come over to this little area over here. Just don't go too far, otherwise you will aggro the assassin and the healers, which could be kind of deadly. So right before the mini-boss, people usually will take on the assassin and the 2 healers. They are really easy mobs to kill, but I like to just skip past them because, like, I want to do the mini-boss, and it's kind of like a waste of time if you don't, because then you don't get the experience from the one on this map, and it's pretty decent. So I like to take out this assassin first. You can do it with the boss, but the boss also pulls 2 lumberjacks with them, and you'll be taking a lot of damage. So I like to just go ahead and handle this assassin really quickly. But there's no point in taking out those healers. You can just skip past them and then kill this assassin, because those 2 healers are 2 extra kills that you don't need. But as you can see, after we take out the assassin, all we have to do is tell your DPS to stay to the left side of the log, and then you go on the right side of the log, and then aggro the boss and all the mobs onto you. For this boss, it's pretty easy. You do not need a swap, but go ahead and let them use their first ability, and then stun them with your E, and they won't be able to move. And then get 4 hits, and immediately after you get your 4 hits, go ahead and root the boss, because he's going to use this like spinning ability, which does a lot of damage and will instantly kill a lot of people. So that's why you're on this side of the log. It makes it a lot easier. But whenever you get close to the boss, he's going to use the huge AoE attack, which will kill you very quickly. So go ahead and use your E to go ahead and cancel it, and then get your 4 hits and root the boss. If you don't get your 4 hits, but you see the AoE circle to make the boss spin, just go ahead and stun them with your W, because you want the boss to be rooted when they're doing their spin cycle, because that is probably the most dangerous thing with this mini-boss, that spin cycle right there. We're going to go ahead and repeat it. You get close enough, they use the big slam AoE, use your E to cancel it. Go ahead and get your 4 hits. I was getting 3 hits and then waiting until like it got closer to the time to use the spin cycle, so that works too. You just have to really know whenever the spin cycle is going to happen, so that way you can use your W to root them and he doesn't come at you that like spinning, obviously, or your teammates and instantly killing every one of them. But yeah, this boss is super easy and it's a lot of fun. I kind of messed up the timing there a little bit, but he ended up spinning. For some reason, sometimes he'll do 2 ground slams or 2 slam AoEs, which is a little bit weird, but you'll get used to it. You just gotta get a feel for it and basically just stun the boss whenever they're about to use their spin cycle. Well, root them with your W. So now all we have to do is skip to the boss, and then we get to actually fight the boss. So you're basically done with the map at this point. This skip saves a lot of time, but you have to be very careful on the skip, just because there's a lot of cannoneers, and a lot of people will aggro them, and they end up shooting their like cannonball and it ends up hitting you, so you have to be very careful. Like, as you could see, that guy like aggroed it, and then I almost got hit by it. I got kind of lucky there, honestly. But use your E to go ahead and get past this guy, and then use your R to lose aggro. And then you're gonna want to wait until the archer at the that was walking to the top gets to their position, and then you just don't have to use any other abilities, and you wait at this checkpoint to do another skip. But as you saw, my teammate ended up dying, and if I didn't invis, then I would have died too. So it's more worth it to just use your F and then wait the 40-second cooldown, rather than just die, or like, use your D and F and try and do the full skip and then get you and a teammate killed possibly. It's better just to wait the 40 seconds instead of, a 200k repair bill or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and just wait until our CDs are all good, and then you're going to skip like you normally would. In the HCE skip video, I did this all in one shot. But so use your W, your D, and then use your E to get past, and use your F instantly once you use your E. And then you should be able to just make it to the boss from using your F. If you don't, you have your R for emergencies. So your DPSs should be taking care of the rats in the top left corner. If no one is attacking there, then make sure you ask, oh, are the rats done? And if they don't know what you're talking about, then tell them to just spam their AoE abilities at that little area where you see numbers lighting up. And they finished it, so we don't have to worry about the rats anymore. We're going to go ahead and equip our tank offset. And as you can see, we're going to change the chest piece to the defense passive. We're going to change the helmet to also the defense passive. And then for our sword, we're going to want the same abilities we had when we started the video. And the shield, you don't have to worry about anything. So to actually start the boss, you're going to want to go ahead and throw your poison. And then when they use their attack, and you use your W, your F, and your D abilities. So those are going to block all of the shots that this boss does. And then run kind of close to the boss. And it's going to go ahead and trigger the AoE of them spraying like in the little circle. And you need to use that time to basically get your CDs over with. And the healer is supposed to have a royal jacket. For some reason, they just didn't feel like giving it to me, or they weren't wearing one. So it kind of was a pain in the butt, but you can definitely do this without a royal jacket. You just can only take one shot depending on the level you're on, but you definitely want to be very careful. And as you can see though, since the healer didn't have a royal jacket to use on me, what I was doing was using my W, D, and F, and then I was taking one hit and then activating the spray. Just so that way, the healer would be able to heal me and after I took one hit, so I didn't have to worry about anything. And also, I just didn't have the CD to do, you know, the one hit right away, so it wasn't really an option at sometimes. But as you could see, our W, D, and F, and then I have to take one hit and then get a little bit closer to the boss. But you don't have to use taunt on this boss. They will automatically keep aggro on you. You don't have to worry about that. And as you can see, one of my teammates accidentally stood in that AoE and ended up dying from it. It seems like that happens quite a lot on this boss, honestly. But I don't know. You can't blame yourself. Alright guys, well that basically sums up the video. I hope you enjoyed watching this and found this video helpful. It took me a little bit of time to make. But go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you are down to see more HCE content and enjoy videos like this. Alright, thanks guys, peace. Superhero.